to share with you some things that you can do to maintain your active lifestyle. COVID has really done a number on all of us in regards to perhaps isolation and sensory deprivation. So we've got to get ourselves back in gear. So like I mentioned, the sensory deprivation, we haven't been able to maybe communicate in the style we're accustomed to with our family and friends. And therefore, maybe we've had some anxiety, depression, which have contributed to fatigue, maybe restless behavior, sadness, or those kinds of things. So what are we going to do about it? It's all about people, interactions, social interactions, being able to engage with people, see people, smile at people, and get that feedback to release all the good dopamine and serotonin, the positive brain chemicals that make us happy, take us to our happy place, and keep us in our happy place. So give yourself a virtual hug. It's not as good as a real hug with your best friend or family, but it also is a good strategy in a short-term kind of positive matter. We can also just do, touch is so important, and we're probably not getting all the touchy-feely interaction with the people that we love. So just some gentle body stroking is a good means to light up the hemispheres in your brain. So we want to engage with people. That's critically important to keep ourselves feeling good and staying young, and reduce depression, fatigue, and of course, weight gain. Do you have the COVID-15 where you've gained a little bit of weight? That's a result of stress and perhaps being close to your refrigerator and not being able to exercise like you would love to do. So let's talk about a couple principles that we can focus on in order to keep us healthy and take control of the aging process. So if we talk about posture, we can do standing posture or sitting posture. Now, some of you might be sitting, some of you might be standing. I'll invite you to stand up if you'd like. But let's talk about posture real quick. In a seated position, you have more stress on your body than you do when you're standing. We don't have the advantage of the lower part of our spine when we're seated, so more pressure on that spine. So a lot of times we think, oh, I'm so tired or I'm not feeling good, I'm gonna sit down. And we'll talk more about that for strength and conditioning in a little bit. But by standing, you actually are more anatomically correct. You've got less strain on your joints when you're standing if you have good posture. All right, that's a caveat. So if we look at our plumb line, and if we took a string and attach it to the middle of our ear, it should dissect right through the middle of your shoulder, through your hip, through your knee, and your ankle. And we might have a little zig or zag, but we want to be able to correct that and have that physical awareness, kinesthetic awareness of where our body is in space. In our seated position, once again, the earlobe through the middle of your shoulder, through your hips. I need a cameraman, but so let's do a little posture check. All right, ensure that you're not cheating by leaning against the back of your chair, that you're maintaining that beautiful young looking posture. When you have good posture, you look younger. All right, so no surgery required. We'll do a little check of your posture. So maybe you have tech neck, or maybe your posture is compromised for some crazy reason. If we don't have our awareness into our posture, it might be not so perfect. So let's look at what posture, good posture, should be. So we'll do a little check. You can be your own physical therapist. Place your thumb on your sternum and your pointer finger on your chin. All right, so gently move your head back to an imaginary back wall. and then release, or just go back to neutral. And hopefully you'll find that your chin no longer meets your pointer finger. Try that again, but if you're not touching your chin, you're going to have to move your thumb up on your sternum a little bit farther so that your pointer finger is touching your chin, and repeat that same press of your head back. I say back to an imaginary back wall, and release, and see if that chin and finger touch. If not, repeat one more time, pulling your chin back, and then release. When your release and your chin and your pointer finger touch, you've now done an adjustment, all right? You can also maybe put a yoga brick on your head to see how that feels. Does that feel odd? Does that feel uncomfortable? That's a better alignment. Now we'll go back to a poor posture position, all right, a slumping body position. If you slump and you turn your head left or right, notice a limited movement pattern of your cervical spine. Sit up nice and tall and turn your head left and right, and notice the difference. All right, let's also look at shoulder movement. In a slumping posture, raise your hand up, left or right, doesn't matter, up towards the ceiling. Can you raise it up? Probably not very easily. Sit up nice and tall and raise your hand up. So this is just an example of what good posture allows: better body mechanics, better movement. It also provides more room for better breathing and better air exchange, right? Like I mentioned earlier, it makes you look younger and also feel younger. Moving on to our next area of fitness that I want to focus and concentrate. These incidentally don't cost a darn thing. So I say exercise is medicine. And if you can practice some better exercise, you will feel better and be able to move and do the things you like to do, want to do, need to do, right? So in our breathing, if we sit or stand, your choice, we're going to focus on some breathing exercises. No equipment needed. We want to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. So we're drawing our attention at kind of a mind-body connection, our breathing, to enhancing the muscles that we recruit for our breathing. You probably haven't thought about your breathing probably since you woke up this morning, and I know you're breathing. If you're not breathing, raise your hand. So if we don't think about our breathing, we really don't have probably a good breathing pattern, and therefore probably not getting the good supply of oxygen to your internal organs and even more importantly to your brain. So in that poor posture position, obviously we're compromising on our breathing process. So practicing our good posture, neutral position, or good postural alignment. Breathe in through your nose. We'll breathe in 2 counts and out 2 counts. In through your nose, out through your mouth. All right, here we go. 1, 2, in. 1, 2, out. Again, 1, 2, in. 1, 2, out. Now, place your hand on your chest and the other hand right here. It's actually on your diaphragm, right at the top of your rib cage, right? So inhale and then exhale. So many times during the course of our day, if we're not focused on our breathing, we practice shallow breathing or chest breathing. We want to do more diaphragmatic breathing, and therefore, by getting that awareness of allowing your diaphragm to work a little bit more efficiently. Okay, diaphragm is also considered part of your core. So inhale through your nose, out through your mouth. You do this practice a lot of times if you practice yoga. Now, a little bit more challenge, in 2 counts, out 4 counts. We want to put the emphasis on the exhalation. So in 2 counts, 1, 2, then exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. You feel those muscles or the diaphragm tighten up, okay? Recruiting more muscles to help support your spine. Practice good posture. All right. One more time, in 2, out 4. Breathe in, 1, 2, and then out 4, 3, 2, 1. There's another breathing exercise that's a little bit more challenging, and that is a relaxation breath in 4 counts. Hold for 7, out for 8. If you're familiar with Dr. Andrew Weil, this is his breathing technique that he recommends doing 4 cycles 2 times a day. It will help reduce anxiety. If you are unable to sleep during the course of the evening, this is a helpful practice to bring you back into a nice restful sleep. It actually lowers your heart rate and your blood pressure. So breathing is super important for keeping your body in tip-top shape. So let's try that one in 4 counts. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 7, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's a hard breathing strategy, but very effective. Try that one more time. Breathe in 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hopefully you maintained your beautiful young looking posture, that you didn't compromise and bend forward. All right, another breathing strategy that is a little bit more challenging and has huge health implications as far as keeping you healthy is a breathing strategy, breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. So this keeps you healthy. If you think about breathing in through your nose, then out through your nose, we're recruiting even more core stabilizers. So try that. We'll do 2 and 2. In through your nose. And again, this is just a check so that we have that kinesthetic awareness that our diaphragm is working, that we're not cheating and just doing a shallow chest breath. So in 2, out 2. Try in 2, out 4. Breathe in 1, 2. Out through your nose. 4, 3, 2, 1. Notice how much more challenging that is. When you breathe in through your nose versus through your mouth is for eating, your nose is for breathing. All right, it's a little bit more challenging. We have those little cilia, nose hairs in your nose that filter out contaminants in the air. You know, on bad pollution days here in Denver, there's a lot of particulates in the atmosphere. So allowing your nose to filter those out, then they don't go directly into your lungs. And having good functional lungs is critically important, right, for our health. So breathing in through our nose and then out through our nose. That also helps for our sleep patterns. It's a training exercise. If you think about we don't usually think about our breathing, but if you think about your breathing, I would venture to say most of us do a lot of mouth breathing. Try to see what you can do to practice that nostril breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth, right? And by doing that, by allowing your diaphragm to be more functional, anytime you use your muscle or use it or lose it, it becomes more efficient. So that pushes the stale air out of the lower part of your lungs and allows then a bigger space for that clean and rich oxygen supply that once again can go to your internal organs and to your brain. Let's check in with that. It's called 3D breathing, and it's that in through your nose, out through your nose. But let's see if you can verify that that diaphragm, it lifts up and down. It also lifts out to the side and in and front and back. So first of all, place your hands right here below your sternum on the side, right, in your rib cage, and then do that nostril breathing in through your nose, out through your nose. Feel that movement. All right, now we're going to go down to your transverse abdominis right here at your hip line and see if you can feel that breathing. Now, by focusing on that nostril breathing, if you can extend instead of 2 counts, 4 counts, that's great. But that diaphragm lifts, and it helps also with strengthening your pelvic floor. So it has so many benefits for our body. So right here, inhale through your nose, out through your nose. So if you're not feeling that movement, that's something you need to practice. Another check in balance for that 3D breathing. This one's a little bit hard to gauge. Place your hands so that they're wrapped around your rib cage. All right, this is to see that expansion. All right, so we want the ribs to expand as you breathe in through your nose, out through your nose. So in all of these checks of placing our hands to get that idea that our nose breathing is effective and therefore will help us stay healthy. Very, very important. If you think about this compressed lack of good oxygen going to those internal organs, that's why a lot of people have digestive issues. Now, I'm not a doctor and I don't want to go beyond my scope of practice, but really having your body function optimally will let you feel better, give you more energy, and have a lot of good benefits. So that brings us into, let's see, breathing and posture, and now we're going to go into movement. All right, we want to move more, sit less. Are you standing? All right, think about what you do during the course of the day. Are you sitting? Are you standing? Every 30 minutes, set your watch, set your timer, get up and stretch. All right, stretch your arms, lift, maybe lift off your heels. Feel free to march or walk around the room, run around the room. We have to get our muscles moving more efficiently. So feel free, every 30 minutes, you can even change to a new chair, play musical chairs, or I'd like to say maybe stand during a commercial. Maybe commercials are longer than a TV show. So we want to move more and we want to strengthen our muscles. Did you know that we lose 40% of our muscle mass from age 20 to 70? Now, after 70, I don't know if you lose more. Actually, the continuum continues, all right, unfortunately. With that being said, what are we doing to increase muscle mass? So when I say movement, perhaps you know that the American College of Sports Exercise recommends 150 minutes of exercise every week or 75 minutes of high intensity. Not sure if you're doing that or not, but if you're not, I know that you will after this presentation. We want to do at least 10 minutes of continuous movement. You can slice and dice any way you want. You can do 5 days of 30 minutes or however you want to manage that activity. So we can look at walking, which many of us do to keep active. And walking is not bad, but what level of intensity are you walking? If you're walking and sauntering and chatting, I see a lot of people talking on their phone as they're walking. So when you do a slow movement pattern like that, you're really not engaging your heart. So I'm going to say that's really not cardio. To be at an intensity level that's going to make a difference, you want to train to maintain and get the gain. So if you are walking or swimming or biking, you want to be at an intensity level where you cannot speak in complete sentences. If during that activity you can say, Mary had a little lamb as fleece as white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go, without taking a breath, you are not working hard enough. So you have to be able to work where you're taking short segments of speech. All right, so that's a good game plan. Cardiovascular exercise, critically important, but not to be outdone. We need to make sure that we're strengthening our muscle. I told you about that muscle mass reduction, of course, as we get older. We can do something about that. And what we need to do is to work in a strength capacity or strength exercises 2 times a week. What are strength exercises? All right, usually weight exercises, whether you do handheld weights, whether you do elastic tubing, whether you do kettlebells, whether pick up the dog, pick up the baby. All right, so we're adding weight to our muscles and our bones, not only increasing muscle mass, but also working on bone density. So we start to lose bone density at an alarming rate as well. And women after menopause, we even lose more bone density. So it's that mineral loss that we have to try to counterbalance. So let me show you a couple of things, easy things you can do to increase bone density. All right, we want to be able to increase the demand on our long bones, and that's why standing is better than sitting, is better than laying down. In Tai Chi, if you have taken a Tai Chi class, we do a bone increasing activity or exercise. It's love taps to your arms, all right? So if you've done a bone density test and you've got some loss of bone, which of course inevitably will happen, we can try to slow that loss down, all right, by doing some of these tricks that I'm going to show you. So excellent, do the little love taps, okay, not too hard, no bruises, and then also on your legs, just gently tap, right? And you can challenge your balance by lifting your knee and tapping. Those are all great ways. And another thing you can do is as you're standing, this doesn't work effectively sitting, but as you're standing, lift off your heels and then drop to your flat feet. So lift and down, lift and down. So you can do it slow, or you can do little bounces a little bit faster. Okay, as you can see, it's a lot more jiggling, and that you could go out and run. That would be another thing too, but this is a little bit easier on your joints. Just doing that heel bounce. I suggest while you're waiting in line at the grocery store to do this, and perhaps they'll think that you need to go to the bathroom and they will rush you to the front of the line. Oh, just a kid. A good strategy, right? All right, so heel bounces, great way to enhance your bone and muscle intensity or build bone and muscle. We talked about weight training, whether you use handheld weights or elastic tubing, or resort to body weight exercises. So body weight exercises are using your body as the weight and reduce the cost of equipment by using body weight exercises. Some of them not so easy to do. And one of the best exercises you can do is the squat. A lot of people don't like the squat, but you could do sit to stand from a chair or just go from a standing position into a squat. Let's talk about the squat and look at the basics of the squat to make sure that when you're doing it, you get the most benefit. If it's done incorrectly, you could actually create some pain, or hopefully we don't want to make your body grumpy. During the course of these exercises, whether it's a cardio or the strength or whatever exercises, listen to your body. If it's grumpy and it's nagging you and it's just grumpy, that's okay. But if it's angry and mad, you have to stop the exercise, and I'll show you some modifications. So listen to your body. Don't put yourself in pain. Just because you can do the exercise doesn't mean you should. So form is critical to prevent pain. So as you push your hips back, as you do the squat, Our feet are about hip width apart, our toes facing forward. Sometimes we turn our toes out, that's okay, but I'm trying to get us to do better form, and then pull our weight into our hips, into our heels. Maybe you can lift your toes off the floor. And ultimately, a great squat would be to be able to touch your fingers to the floor. Very difficult, very challenging, but we call that the life squat, a life squat, because you need to be able to get down, maybe off the floor, right, and then back up. So life squat, critically important. So you work up to that level. You might not be able to do that right now. You might be able to do it tomorrow, but weight shift into your hips. And they say the butt is the boss. The butt leads that exercise back. We keep our knees behind our toes. If we squat with our knees caving forward, it puts way too much pressure on your knees. We want to keep the knees we have for as long as possible. So weight shift into your bum and then come back up. Easy to go down, not so easy to come up. Place your hands wherever they're comfortable. All right, a little bit more challenge is taking your hands out of the equation or placing your hands out in front. If you're evaluated on your squat and you're with a personal trainer, they would have you go into the squat and do an arm raise and then come back up. When you go down into your squat, again, pay attention to your knees. Knees stay behind your toes. Weight into your hips, into your heels. And then when you come up, watch what happens to your knees. If your knees cave in, that shows you've got some muscle imbalance, some instability in your quads, or if they go out. So go down as far as comfortable where you can maintain the alignment of your knees. Once your knees start shifting, that's an indication to you that your strength in your legs isn't what it should be. So start easy, all right? You can do 4 or 5. When your form starts to go to hell in a handbasket, then discontinue, rest, and you can come back. You can work up to as many squats as you like, all right, within reason, right? So 10 is usually a nice, good number. When we're doing strength training, we usually do 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 12, 3 sets of 8, something along that line, all right? And then move on. Another strength exercise with body weight is a lunge. Step back, left or right. All right, step back. And I'm just shifting my weight to the back leg. So I can bend into that lunge. All right, listen. I like doing a lunge backwards versus forward, puts less stress on your knees. So again, a body weight exercise, lunge, all right? And you might notice when you do strength training, I recommend that you go and begin with your weak side. So believe it or not, we have a strong side, we have a weak side. Usually your dominant side is your strong side, your non-dominant side, your weak side. Take that lunge back. Once again, you can do 3 sets of 10. You can start with just 10. You can start with just 1 or 2. Listen to your body, see how that feels. There's also a side lunge, side lunge. So the lunge is different than a step in that we are bending our knees. So we're weight shifting, bend, and see how that feels on your knees. And before you start doing maybe some strength exercise, if you haven't done a lot of exercising the last week or so, before you do some of these movements, you can just kind of walk in place, lift your heels, lift your knees, and then go into those strength. So do it nice and gentle, nice and easy. And like I mentioned, it's better as far as easier on your joints to go back than go forward. So one of the other exercises you can do for upper body strength is a push-up. That's pretty challenging. So let's look at ways that you can do a push-up in an easier version. So the more vertical you are, the easier that push-up will be. So hopefully if you do it on a chair or a table or countertop, it's something stable. This chair is not real stable. So I'm just giving you that information. So back your feet up as far as you can. And you could do this on a wall, like I said, or a lower ottoman or table. You can also go down, right down to a chair cushion, chair bottom. Lots of options, 3 sets of 10. Just try a couple, see how you feel. If something is hurting or bothering you, back off. And another way to modify is to take a smaller step. Don't go big. And the way to intensify is to go big. All right, add a greater movement pattern. All right, all good strength exercises. And our body is pretty good at adapting. So let's just say you did 10 squats today. We're gonna take the next day off and then do squats. Do your strength training 2 days a week and you can expand to 3, but don't do back to back. When you work a muscle sufficiently, it causes little micro tears, and we allow those tears to repair to provide better strength and stability of that muscle so they get stronger and bigger, which is important. So modify if you need to, listen to your body. Don't strength train 2 days back to back. You could do legs one day, arms the next day. That's fine. Good exercises as far as strengthening and conditioning. I mentioned sit to stand. We want to be able to come up from a chair without using the arms of our chair. So that's a great strength and conditioning exercise. If you have done some fitness testing with a personal trainer, they may see how many times you can sit to stand in 30 seconds and time you. It's a time test. But if you're going from a chair, notice you're down at this low level. And when we were doing our squats, maybe you weren't at a 90-degree angle. So getting out of a chair becomes a little bit more challenging. One of the other things I'm going to recommend for whole work for us is when you go into the chair next time to be able to get stronger, go down as slow as possible. Slow, slow, slow. And then sit very gently on your chair. That will strengthen your legs, and it's an easy exercise. Think about every time that you sit down, you get that strength in your legs, and then from here on, it's a plop because your chair is nice and close. Another way to challenge in that chair sit to stand is to change your feet position. So you go to a comfortable position, stand, and sit. You can change that leg position, wider, narrower, and then staggered stance. So in a staggered stance, the leg that's closer to your chair takes on more weight. The leg that's farther away goes on vacation. So it's almost like a one-legged squat. That's pretty challenging to do. So that's a great challenge, sit to stand. All right. We did strength. We did cardio, and now we want to talk about flexibility. So motion is lotion. We want to keep moving so our joints and our body can stay in motion, our body in motion stays in motion. And then we want to be able to move a little bit more efficiently, so stretching and flexibility. So if your joints are more flexible, they're going to be more mobile, bigger, nice, easy, gentle movements. And if the movement patterns that we participate in the course of the day are mostly in the seated position, all right, we lose flexibility in our hip, perhaps in our shoulder, especially if we do that forward flexion. And eventually we lose range of motion in our ankle. And ankle flexibility is critical to maintain that active lifestyle because it is critical for gait. Let's try a little experiment. All right, I want you to stand up, or you can do this seated. It's going to be very difficult to do seated, but ensure that your ankles don't move, that you've got rigid ankles, and see if you can walk forward. Ha! All right. Your ankles play a huge part in balance and a huge part in your mobility. If you lose your ability to move your ankles, you're more apt to shuffle. Or if you're using a walker or a cane, your gait pattern is smaller. With a smaller gait pattern, we lose that range of motion in your hips. So good things to work on are stepping forward, stepping back, just in place in stationary position. Or if you get real challenging, we're going to take bigger steps. Increase the strength and stability of your hips. That's a great fall prevention exercise. Speaking of fall prevention, I am going to show you something that pays for the price of admission today. This is a fall prevention technique that I want you all to work on. And we're going to do it with your non-dominant side or your weaker side. So identify what your weaker side is. We're going to stand up. You're going to lift off your heels. All right. And you're going to pretend, don't really fall, Shirley. Don't, lift off your heels and let your weight shift forward. And you're going to take that lunge or safety step. Lift off your heels and stop. Lift off your heels. All right, so we're like training our body in the event that we fall. Most times people do not fall standing still. All right, weight shift. All right, and then safety step, safety step, safety step, safety step. That's that lunge. You will not break your bones, hopefully, by doing the safety step. Now try it with your dominant leg. You can probably do that pretty darn easy. So lift off, and if your step is a small step, that's fine. We want to work at lifting off, all right, and then preventing the fall with the safety step. So great way to ensure that you, if you're off balance, that you have a fall prevention strategy. All right, real quickly, I want to just talk about balance real quick, because that is so important. There's static balance and there's dynamic balance. So static balance is being able to stand and lift one leg. And if, once again, if you are being evaluated for fall prevention, this is one of the tests the physical therapist would do with you. So standing, you're going to lift your foot off the floor. And what they'll do is they'll count for 10 seconds and see if you can hold your body weight on that single support leg. If you can't, that's an indication that you're a fall risk. They may give you a couple tries on that. So we'll try it on one leg, again, dominant leg, and then non-dominant. So try your non-dominant side first. So if you're right-handed, that would be your left leg, right? So stand on that left leg, hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Notice that vacillation in your ankle. That's the fall prevention. That's the stability in your ankle. All right, other leg, stand and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So ensuring better balance in a dynamic pattern is a weight shift. Front leg to back leg. It's not a lunge, it's a weight shift. Tai Chi is a great practice for better balance. All right, so if we moved forward and back, stepping forward, stepping back, if you did that at a speed that is comfortable for you, you could sustain that for quite some time. Let's try that slow. And when you step, Bring your awareness into your ankle and your foot movement. As you step forward, it's heel, ball, toe. As you step back, toe, ball, heel. Notice how much more challenging that slow movement is. Heel, ball, toe, step back, toe, ball, heel, and weight shift. One more time. Perfect posture, chin is neutral, don't look at your feet, they're still there. And back. And step together, try the other side. Step forward, heel, ball, toe. Take a big step if you want a big challenge. Big step back if you want a big challenge. Weight shift from one leg to the other. Stepping forward, heel, ball, toe, weight shift, and then toe, ball, heel. So a dynamic pattern in weight shift. Side step, same thing, all right? So stepping side, can't do heel, ball, toe. But here's the challenge, side step with a lift. Side step, lift. Back down, together, side step, lift, and then down. So you can alternate patterns or you can do one side at a time. Side step, and lift. All right, another fall prevention strategy for dynamic balance is just a knee tap. Bringing your hands high enough that you can hit your knee with your hand is important. And then you can do double knee tap, triple knee tap. Good brain fitness here, right? Last one. 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. All right. So in summary, and then we'll take questions. And if we have some extra time, I've got more material, but I want to address your questions. So in summary, just keep moving. Do what you love to do. Most of us don't like to do exercise. I'm a rare person. I love exercise, but you might not be an exercise person, but find things that you like to do. We talked about cardio exercise. Maybe just turn on the music and dance. All right, there's no dance police. You don't have to be a rock star or a dance star with the stars. All right, but keep moving. Get out of the chair, stretch, work on posture, pelvic tilt. We didn't go into that, where you flatten out that lumbar spine. Practice good posture. Practice better breathing. Breathe in through your nose, out through your nose. Ensure that we don't have tech neck, all right? We do a lot of things, driving, reading. Most of the activity that we do, especially if our eyesight's getting better, we're bending forward. Think about that posture. Pull those shoulders back. Bring your chin back. All right. One last big breath. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your nose. All right. Questions, anyone?
Someone asked, can you explain what happens when you do the arm and leg tapping for bone density? That was these ones.
Oh, so what happens, our body's not so good at making bone as we get older. And so we lose minerals. They just, seep out. And so you've probably seen pictures of bones, young bones, and then older bones. They have more porous pieces in them. So we're losing more mineral than we are absorbing the mineral. And kind of another interesting piece of that, I think it takes, I want to say 7 years for, bone maturation. So, it's a continual loss and putting down of the bone fibers or cells, if you will. So it doesn't happen overnight, but we want to add that stimulation. The body is good at adapting. And if we don't have any demand for bone, it just flies. I don't want to say flies, goes out of the body. It's just kind of that natural, like our skin sloughs off, our bone cells slough off. And so by adding some additional demand on our bone, we give those cells that I guess, inspiration, if you will, that says, hey, just like the muscles, when we work our muscles, those microfiber tears enhance when the muscle builds again. So the body is good at building, and if the demand is there, it is a response to the demand. Variety is the spice of life. And like I just said, the body's so good at adapting. So let's just say you tried a new skill. I've been playing a lot of pickleball, and I've been getting better at pickleball. But my body is becoming more efficient. Same thing as if you did 10 squats today and you did them 10 squats next week, maybe you're like, oh, that's not so hard anymore. So your body is good at adapting to the stresses that we put on it. So you have to keep challenging your body. So try new activities. Great for the brain. It's great for your muscle development. So don't just only walk. Don't just only do weight machines. Don't do the same routine over and over again. Change it up. Incorporate some new activities. Try new things. Light up the hemispheres of your brain.